Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. I'm Mike Blaine, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is Blaine Birch, the CEO and founder of Dry Run. What's up, man? What's going on?
Man, it feels like forever. We missed 1 week, and it feels like it's been a month. It's just weird because I'm so used to like every Thursday, and then last Thursday, not that we went for beer.
I actually had 20, 30 people either in town or virtual for our biannual, the twice a year conference. And
Nice.
man, it gets better and better and better. We did an app boot camp and it was fantastic. And did you see the song that my marketing guy made for me?
I did. It sounded quite amazing, actually. It was, yeah.
Dude, I would go see that AI concert.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go look for Cashflow Mike on Spotify or Apple or Amazon. It's on all three of those now. Courtney's hating it because I can walk around the house going, hey, I won't say her name because she'll pop off on me. Hey, play Cashflow Mike on Spotify. And boom, it runs through the house. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be careful because she can go make her own song and plug them all over Spotify.
Yeah, but it's not about her. I'm just talking about, well, that's right. She could play it in the house, right? And I'd have to listen to it all day long.
You have to listen to it all day. Yeah.
So I have it on repeat in the car when I'm going to the gas station or something like that. So I'm like, damn, I'm starting to learn the words to it and everything. It's like fantastic. I love it.
Well, you have to put it up on the Facebook page, and then people can see it if Facebook lets.
I think
us
I
ever
did.
post it again.
Didn't I? I think I already did. We'll have to check.
All right, take a look.
Let's see,
Yeah.
Facebook. If not, I know I put it on the Cashflow Mike and Cashflow Mike page. So
Nice.
there's Mike and Blaine's. Go to Mike and Blaine's page, see if it's there. And no, probably didn't put it up there. So,
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I did. It's right there.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
buried underneath. It's like 3 posts down right now. So
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't
So you guys go check out our Facebook page, and while we're at it, please like, subscribe, follow. Go to our website, mikeandblaine.com. You can even buy merch there, and you can also email us. If you want to sponsor, and you can just like buy some beer for $5 an episode. We're going to talk about you every episode that you sponsor for $5. The best sponsorship dollar you'll ever spend. But you can also email us at beer@mikeandblaine.com if you want to get hold of us. So definitely reach out anytime. But we've got some beer sponsors. And first of all, before we mention our sponsors, what are you drinking today?
Hey, me? I tell you what, I didn't go really. I went big beer, big name beer, right? Because I hadn't seen it in a while, and usually if I see it, I buy it. But I went Smithwick's, right?
Oh yeah,
Smithwick's
nice.
Red. Yeah. It's Guinness's big competitor, right? When it comes right down to it.
Nice.
So I went Smithwick's because I don't know, it's just something about. I used to carry it at Bottoms Up Brew House there in O'Fallon. And, one of the bars I owned, and it was one of the most popular beers we poured was the Smithwick's. So I really like it.
Well, even though I really promote craft beer now, buy craft beer a lot, I still have such an appreciation, honestly, for Guinness. I think it's actually really a terrific beer for Kilkenny, for like all those Boddingtons, Smithwick's like that. Like I have a real appreciation. That's that's legit beer. And that's where a lot of the craft beer comes from, right?
Hey, well, I mean, and we learned something about Guinness, right? That they brew in Maryland. They have a
Yes.
whole line of a craft beer line of Guinness. I don't think it's the real stuff. I think it's like some off, I don't know, down brand things. I don't know if it's the real stuff though.
We've tasted it, if I remember tasting good. So I think it's probably pretty similar.
I kind of forgot. I forgot what it tasted like. The other Mike Mylan has to send it to us.
Yeah, Mike, if you're out there, we can send us more Guinness from Maryland.
You just got a free plug, other Mike Mylan.
You need a rubber
call him,
arm.
yeah. On my phone, he's called Baltimore Mike. So
Yeah, they're Baltimore Mike. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So today, we got the topic. We're going to talk about therapy speak and how that's infiltrating everything from, all across the world, but also into business and into HR and into everywhere. So we're going to talk about that. And I just thought this was apropos, this Omen Brewing
Yeah.
spilt milk. And I thought,
Yeah,
don't cry over spilt milk, just seemed to somehow connect to that. And also, it was one of the few beer I had in the fridge, and this is a delicious beer. So that was, I'm just kind of wedging it in there. But Omen Brewing, oh man, we've been going there almost every weekend since we got back to Edmonton. It's just, I think that's such good beer. If you're looking for a great place to go have beer, Omen Brewing on Happy Beer Street area, go check them out.
Yeah. So speaking of beer sponsors, right? You mentioned people could sponsor the show for $5 an episode. Guess who's back? Larry's back, back again. Right. So Larry Weinstein, the cash flow cowboy out of Houston, Missouri. He just gave me a copy of his new book called The Banker's Edge. Look, not even for resale. You can't even get this sucker yet. But yeah, Larry Weinstein, the CPA. Look at that. He's even got Clear Path to Cash professional down here too.
Nice.
He's going right on it. So it's very cool. So Larry, glad to have you back. He's sponsored through the rest of the year. He's done. He's in till December.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Larry, for being back. And for those of you that are wondering, the Canadian's going to mention that that's Houston, Texas.
Houston. Yeah, Houston.
Yeah, you said it was in Missouri. I'm pretty sure.
No, I didn't say
I was like, well, that's weird.
I said Missouri.
Yeah. So I thought, the Canadian knows where Houston is. You even live in Texas, man.
Damn, I might have to go back and watch that. And I said, yeah, we got to replay that because I'm going to throw a challenge flag on that one.
No, if Larry, you're watching, any of you guys watching, text it. I'll go over to chat. You can confirm that
I'm calling bullshit on that one. I'm calling bullshit on that one. There's no way that it happened.
It did. It was quite hilarious. I was personally laughing. So I will find that clip and probably put it on Facebook and replay it 50 times. So, but we've also got some, and I got to mention, like, neighbor Pat might even be listening. Neighbor Pat, he did say not Houston, Texas. You said something else. But neighbor Pat, one of our beer sponsors, always walking down the street bringing you beer all the time. And I'm going to thank Pat for you, because you get all the fun beer. But I appreciate it, Pat.
Yeah, and then we got Karen Harrison. She's no longer going by 3S Smart Consulting. It's just Karen Harrison up in Michigan. She's still got her book, Stop Growing Profits, or Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profits. Get it on Amazon. Check her out, Karen Harrison. She is the cash flow expert you need in the North.
Yeah, and Devin. Finally, Devin, thank you again just for supporting the show for so long. The biggest LSU fan on the planet. He just loves the show and loves LSU and more.
He's got to be going crazy right now because Coach O came back and joined the coaching staff. Coach O, Orgeron, he's the one that goes, go Tigers. But he won a national championship with Joe Burrow and all that. And basically, he's come back to be part of the recruiting and the defensive team. So, hey, welcome back, Coach O. You know, when he walked out the door, he walked out with a $17 million buyout of his contract.
Wow.
And you should just go look at the stuff he was doing. He was partying. He was on boats. He's like, hey, why not? When he got fired, it was rumored that he says, hey, just tell me which door you want me to go out.
It's amazing. It's that time of year where NHL coaches are getting fired. Well, they're all getting fired with existing contracts. I bet you it's probably $50 million in coaches that are getting paid for the next few years for not working. It's quite amazing, right? Like, even in Edmonton here, we had a coach, brand new 3-year contract, didn't even get to start his new contract. And I think it was a $7-point-something million contract. So that's not a bad way to spend the next few years if he decides not to coach somewhere else.
Yeah. So what'd you think of the topic?
Interesting topic. So I'll have you sort of introduce it because I had to look it up, the therapy speak. And of course we've all heard it, and it feels like just sort of a different generation lingo to me a little bit, but how do you view it, and how did you come up with this topic? First of all, where did this come from?
Yeah, because you always know that's how it happens. Like something happens in my life, I'm like, why does that bother me so much? Or I want to know more about this. Man, I'm gonna hate to tell this story. I'm gonna hate to tell it. So, Courtney sometimes had me watch reality TV shows, right? And she was watching this one, Love Is Blind or something like that. You ever seen that?
No, I haven't seen any reality TV in probably 10 years. So
Dude,
no.
I did not think I could wrap my brain anymore, but I did. So, and basically, here's the whole premise of the show. They put people I'll call it 12. It might be 15, might be 30. I don't know how many, but they'll have 30 boys and 30 girls.
Yeah.
And then they put them in like this warehouse, but inside the warehouse in LA, we'll say there are 12 pods, maybe more. But the pods have two sides, right? So there's a wall. So think about and the girls are on one side and the boys are on the other. So you never see each other at all. You just go into these two big pods. You're in yours, and it's got a couch, and it's got like a kind of a LED screen in front of you. So you're looking at like abstract art. They're feeding you food, feeding you drinks. You can bring anything in there. They all take notes. They get comfortable. And they just talk like, hey, how are you? I'm Mike, but you're talking to the wall, right? It's like I'm in this room by myself and I'm talking to somebody through a wall. So you see the premise? So that's Love Is Blind. And
it's the dating game.
It's a dating game. Yeah. But different. Yeah. I guess it is almost a dating game, except for there's no host, right? And they spend, I don't know if they spend 15 minutes or an hour because you see it edited. But they have so much time together and they call them dates. And so after or through a week, and maybe it's 2 weeks, but through at least a week, they start eliminating people like, no, that guy Blaine, I don't like him. Right. So they don't see him again. But the whole premise is to either find love or not, because love is blind, meaning that you can fall in love with somebody without ever seeing them. Right. There's a connection that forms.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the whole thing is. And at the end, it's kind of cool because they'll ask them to marry them. Like, I've never seen you, but I'm going to ask you to marry me. And, if you say yes to the engagement, you're engaged, then there's a reveal and there's a big long hallway. The boy comes in from one side, the girl comes in from the other, and they see each other for the first time. And then they do the formal engagement where he gets down on the knee and gives a ring and those type of things. So it's kind of cool. And then from there, they go to a honeymoon. So they spend, we'll call it a week in a resort, with all the other couples that got engaged. And then they go and set them up in a shared apartment, right? So then for another, I'll call it a month, this new couple lives in a shared apartment with each other. So they do them in this kind of the same city, like, we're all in Seattle. So, that way you can still go to work, but the whole point is you do your own normal life and see what that's going to look like. And then you got a way out, which means if after that you can say, yeah, we're not going to get married, or we are going to get married, but you can't say it until you're at the altar. And it's an either I do or I don't type of thing. So it sets up for this huge drama. And I'm like going, shit, I'm committed now. I'm committed. I'm in. I'm bought into stories.
There's something really cold about that. It feels like the dating game with just lots of follow-up, right? Like,
yeah. That's right. Yeah, it isn't a 30-minute show, cut to 22 minutes or whatever. Yeah. So
I wonder if any of it is real. Like, do you think any of it is even slightly real? Because
you can follow these couples on Instagram, right? And individual people, and it's got to be somewhat real. And the statistics are pretty low on A, getting married, B, staying married.
Well, I imagine. How far do they want to take this stunt is, I think, what it really comes down to, right?
Yeah. So again, that's an embarrassing thing I just had to tell about myself on why I brought the topic up.
Especially because you seem to like the show.
I'm kind of a fan. That's how I got into Hoarders too. I mean, it's the same exact thing, right? I'm like, oh, damn, this is pretty good. I get emotionally invested. I'm cheering people on. and those type of things. But now what happens is during that dating period, right, where they see each other, where you got to be, it's just like you date, right? There's nothing different about the resort and the the month that you live together. It's normal. All right. But what I'm noticing, because all these folks are like in their 20s, we'll say 20s, and I think this last season they went up because I think there was probably low statistics for people in their 20s, so they went up to people like in their 30s, right? But what I'm noticing about that age group, 20 to 30, is that the way they talk to each other is not the way me and my friends or me and Courtney talk to each other, right? There's a lot of therapy speak in the way they deal with conflict. I'm like, wouldn't have said that at all. I don't sound like that, so that's where it came from when they use words like trigger and things that used to be in counseling offices.
Yeah.
If you had a counselor, you would hear things like that. You would hear, safe spaces or emotional bandwidth and those type. That used to be therapy. They used to be counseling. That used to be the way they talked to you, right? And then maybe you got a little bit into your life, but for the most part, we didn't use those words normally. Now it's normal conversation. So that's what I want to talk about today is, A, how did that happen? And B, it sounds weird to me. It does. When people do it, that triggers me. I'm like, oh, I don't like it when you talk to me that way.
That's how you could get into an infinite loop. Like, kind of programmer speak, you get into an infinite loop because someone says something and you said, someone used the term triggered and it triggered you. And it's never going to end. It just goes around.
And so I say something that triggers them, and all of a sudden we're in chaos, and we're getting, we're getting rate limit errors in our relationship. That's funny. Yeah.
So I wonder how much of it is just like this new generation's sort of lingo and the way they talk and just, almost like slang, and how much of it is, I don't know, rooted in something else, right? I'm not sure, because I'm like, we're Gen X. Like, Gen X is the polar opposite, where it's a bit of just brutal honesty, right? And I wonder how much of this comes from a place of honesty and how much of it comes from a place of control, because when I hear that, that's what it feels like, is someone's trying to exert control by almost being patronizing. That's how it comes off to me, because I'm from a different generation, right?
And I know it happened slow. It had to happen slow, but to me, it seems like it's pervasive now.
Yep.
So if young people, Mallory talks like that sometimes. She's graduating high school, right now, I guess this weekend, but are they conditioned? Are they taught? Is it just what everybody does? Like, there were slang words and buzzwords that I picked up growing up. It wasn't that like that. The way people ask questions, the way they respond to questions, totally different than the way you and I talk. And it's in the workplace already, right? It's already there.
I think what's interesting is the other thing is the area where this language has evolved, because like you said, we grew up with all of this slang, and it was usually 50 different ways to say something's kind of fun or cool or tubular, awesome, whatever it is, right? This is all just like you said. It feels like it's coming from a therapy session, and I think it feels to me like it's kind of like anything else. Is like half of it is it comes from a good place and a place where they're trying to give be able to communicate how they feel, the situation they're in. But then there's the other flip side, to me, feels like it doesn't feel honest. Like it feels like it's like it's clinical, and it feels like it's like a get out of jail free card kind of thing to me. Like, it just doesn't feel right a lot of times, because it's somehow, I guess for me, my generation, it doesn't feel honest, right?
Well, yeah, and I think I'm the same way because here's why it doesn't feel honest to me is because everything that you and I really consider as an inconvenience is now considered a trauma in somebody's life. And I'm like going, probably not even gonna remember that. Right? You said something to me and I didn't really like it, but I'm probably not going to remember it like 4 months from now.
Yeah.
Chances are it didn't create some trauma that
4
builds
minutes.
up, right?
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, it's so, and I want to know how it got introduced and how it got absorbed into society so fast. I mean, I still don't do it. Again, when people, start to talk like that. And what's funny is I'm saying that as I'm teaching you to do it, meaning, I'm like, oh, holy shit, I'm part of the problem. It's me. I'm the problem. And I had that realization on the podcast. I wrote the book, Don't Tell Me What to Do. And it's all about getting people to take action, right? And part of it comes from verbal judo that they taught us at the police academy, in the 90s. And it was about things like going, hey, I understand that, but, or, I appreciate what you're saying, but, and all of a sudden, that might just be a small snippet of what we learned then. It's expanded, but it's the same basic philosophy of what they're, what people are doing now.
Yeah. Well, and the thing to me is I feel like a lot of it's like I said, it feels to me this is not just because you say it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that it's done for the right reasons and it's honest, right? And I think I've probably told that it's probably been a couple of years since I told this story, but we had a client years and years and years ago, and it was when I had a creative agency, and Pat here probably beers thing. I'm mentioned creative agency. You used to
You're drinking game. Yeah, that's right. Blaine's drinking game.
It's probably been a while since I mentioned that, but we had a customer, and I remember this was almost, I think, the one and only client we actually fired, and it was a real challenge working for them, and I actually thought that they were being beyond dishonest, to be completely honest. But that's how I felt. Um, and I remember in a meeting that the guy, the person I was talking with, I'll call it weaponized active listening. So he had probably gone to a weekend course or read a book about active listening, but the reason I call it weaponized is because it wasn't sort of the trying to get to an outcome. Hey, I hear you, I understand, let's get to a resolution. It was kind of going in the circle. It just was literally parroting back, but never getting to a resolution. And it was a little bit like filibuster. Like, I'm going to go with this till the meeting's over and nothing will get resolved. And I could see what he was doing and I didn't like it. And I remember literally saying to him, I know what you're doing and I don't like it. And I was like, I called him out and made the meeting incredibly uncomfortable. I had zero problem doing that. But that's what it reminds me a little bit of. That is, sometimes it feels like it's used to gain control. It's used to stall things out. It's used to put somebody on their back heel. But it's not used for the purpose that it should be, right? And so and I feel like there's a bit of a if you use particular words, it's like, I'm allowed to say that, and you can't say anything about it. You can't dispute it because I used the word triggered. I'm allowed to, like, that's the end all be all. I was like, it's the you're it, I'm it. Like, I said it first, right?
Yeah.
And that can be, and then as we're starting to, I know where this is going to go because it's going to start working its way into business and how we have to work together as colleagues, and the team has to work together. And where does this help and where does it hurt?
Well, I mean, is it a genuine reflection of your feelings or is it a manipulation? Right. That's where I'm like, you're trying to push me to one way. Right. There's a
Exactly.
bias to it. And I'll tell you, sales training is the worst. That's a weird thing to say, right? But 2012, I was asked to participate in what's called a Sandler sales system. You ever heard of that?
Yep. Oh yeah, very famous system. Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So I mean, pretty much works. It's a little harsh, right? If to me, it's a little harsh when I hear it.
Yeah.
And because I went through it and we were trying to implement it, I'm very in tune with it, right? It's like I pick it up and I started hearing it from everywhere. It's like it was the most popular thing in the world at the time because everybody that talked to me was using the same thing. If people start a conversation with me that fits the A-ton acronym, all right? So that's how every Sandler conversation starts. It's called A-ton, A-T-O-N, right?
Yeah.
They're going to start with the agenda. They're going to tell you the time of the meeting. They're going to say, obviously, you're going to have these questions. Naturally, I'm going to have these questions, right? If you start with that thing to me, I know you're using the Sandler sales system. And I say, hey, don't do that shit to me. That's how some of these things like trigger or safe space and those type of things, when you start talking that, it doesn't encourage me to collaborate. It doesn't encourage me to embrace the conversation. It encourages me to where are they going with this, right? There's a reason why you're doing that to me right now.
Yeah, it goes right back to that word you used. It feels like they have an agenda, and there's a goal in mind. This is now a negotiation. It's not a conversation. That's not talking about feelings. It's a negotiation with an agenda. They have an agenda, and they're looking for an outcome. I agree, but I know some of those sales systems, not probably as much as you, but boy, I know them when I go into a place and they start. Salesman starts going, and I just it turns me off right away. That conversation goes down. Would you agree that? No, I can't. It just drives me nuts, right?
The one that I don't like is, if I could do this, would you? If I could make it $100 less per month, would you buy the car today? When I hear stuff like that, I'm like, you just put me into a sales system. And we stopped being people. You stopped treating me as an individual, and you started treating me like a dollar sign, and I get pissed.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think there's and I think that's probably why we're even talking about this. Is there feels like so much. There's always been a level of bullshit. The volume of it has gone up so high. With not just the internet, but now AI generated content, AI generated communications, like automated communications, automated emails, spam, everything else. The volume of it has gone up, and I think it's gotten. And then on top of it, there's all of this cyber criminals, and you can't trust. You can't trust virtually an email. You can't click on anything. You can't answer the phone anymore. And it leads to a level of distrust. And so when you're having a conversation with someone and anything comes up that feels like bullshit, it's like the alarm bells go through the roof immediately, or at least for me.
Yeah, you talk about, all right, bullshit. Here's a word that you and I never grew up with. And I looked it up, and I still don't really understand what it is.
Is it horse shit?
No, but it's like bullshit. It's called gaslighting.
Yeah, we never grew up with that. Yep.
I still don't really know. I think it's when you're saying like the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not true. But if you say it enough times, that maybe you'll believe it. I don't know, but it means people use that word like crazy. It is everywhere, and at this point in time, I'm like, damn, if I forget where I parked the car, somebody's going to tell me I'm gaslighting. I don't know where the hell I parked. And they use it for everything. If you disagree with me, if you're confused about something, just normal ass arguments about anything.
Yeah.
This gaslighting word was another word that just triggers me. like what? I don't even know what that means. Why'd you keep saying it?
Yeah. And it's almost, you just have to be the first one to say it at a conversation, because then the other person can't say it. That's what it feels like. How quick can you jump to say it,
Yeah, that's funny. I got to tell you, I know we're bagging on this, but there are some good things I think that come out of this type of speaking to each other. I mean, one of the things that I really like is more what a Gen Xer should like is that when things are bad, if it's a toxic environment, anything like that, it gets exposed faster.
Yeah.
If it's bad, like especially in the workplace,
Yeah.
you and I growing up, we had probably what they would consider now to be not just toxic environments; they would be like dumpster fires.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah, I think the work environments that you and I probably early on, like, before I actually had a career job and, summer jobs, especially that sort of thing, you get a taste of environments that would not be tolerated today. Like they just wouldn't be tolerated in any way, the way people are treated, frankly, that how dangerous they were at times, the way everything um, could be wrong. And so, yeah, no, I agree with you. There's the expectations that the latest, I think in a lot of ways, the latest generation set are really good because it was a very low bar. And I think it's making, I think the workplace may be a lot better place in a lot of cases. Now, with it comes the good and the bad come together because it seems like for everything that's actually really productive and workable, there's the other side where it's a bit manipulative, right? And I don't know how you determine which is which at times, like from the outside.
Yeah, so high school through college, I worked in a high-end food service restaurant, and I did every position. I started as a dishwasher. I did some cooking type stuff, made salads, made desserts, waited tables, bartended at events. I mean, those type of things, right?
Mhm.
And every day there's always a little drama that goes on. But you're like, it's just work. And then we just went about it. Maybe you're pissed off about it for a day or two. But I'm thinking now, they'd probably had to close the place down. It's just the way it ran, and it ran very well, except for dealing with other people, right? That you worked
Yep.
with, your actual coworkers, right?
Yep.
It's just crazy because now today communicate about their feelings a whole lot better than we did then.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think you just used cuss words back then. I think that's how you. If I used a cuss word, I was mad. I still do. Yeah, I didn't grow out of that.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, I haven't grown out of that one. It's like it's so tricky because it's changed so much, and most businesses don't have a single generation working in them, right? So you have a lot of people from multiple generations that somehow have to kind of work together and learn. I think there's a bit of a misnomer that the older generation only has to learn from the younger generation. It used to be a flip.
Mm-hmm.
The younger generation has to learn from the older generation. I think there may be times where the both sides are a little bit too dismissive, right? Now, the one thing that I think is a huge benefit with where this has all come from is the normalization of mental health, where mental health is a health issue now. But when you and I grew up, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't talked about. It was just like shoved to the side. It was never even. It's like you didn't even know it existed in a way, even though it truly, obviously existed, right?
Well, dude, I mean, everybody talks about that now. I mean, not just mental health, but they try to protect it or improve it or change it in real time with this word. And you're going to know the word as soon as I say it. You're going to go, oh, yeah, I heard that one. Boundaries. You need to, that was a therapy word. Oh, you need to create healthy boundaries. You need to keep it. Now people put it on their dating profiles. But it's one of those things where boundaries is the thing. You don't have good boundaries. You need boundaries. I keep and maintain my boundaries. I mean, it's the weirdest thing to hear. If you tell me you're going to maintain your boundaries around me, I'm like, we shouldn't be friends. because I'm because Pat will tell you I cross boundaries all the time because we're friends, right? That we're just jazzing it up like we always have.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's the again, it's there's people that have, I think, really good intentions, and it really makes sense for business to be able to sit back and go, that makes sense. Like, and to have those boundaries to say, like, because I know there probably still are workplaces, but I think it was more prevalent where, it's like you're getting paid for 9 to 5, but the expectation was it's like, you're literally I own you sort of thing, which is way beyond those boundaries. Now, on the flip side, I think there's times where people put boundaries up and it's like, that's kind of what I hired you for. It's like, well, I got a job as a salesman. I don't talk to people. I'm not comfortable with that. That's outside of my boundaries. Okay, well, that's not really going to work, right? I know it's a bit of an extreme example, but there are those ones where it's like, yeah, but we still have to get the job done. So there is this give and take and this push and pull in the middle. The edges are clear. It's a little gray stuff in the middle where it's like, yeah, no, but that's part of the job versus it gets messy in there, right?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, what you just described was probably a mismatch in hiring. You're like, you don't talk to people, you can't be in this job. But
it's when you find out about that, though. It's usually sometimes down the road.
Yeah, and people are like going, I'm going to protect my peace. You ever heard that one?
Don't think I've heard that one, man.
Yeah, not at work. You're going to deal with everybody because people still on the telephone or even on the internet, they're not being, therapy courtesy, right? They're going to give it to you exactly the way because they're hiding behind a screen. They're hiding behind a keyboard, and they don't really have to respect your boundaries. You're in the wrong job if you're trying to negotiate with somebody about their boundaries on the internet.
Yeah. And it's good when that comes out during like that should come out. And again, this circles back, I guess, not just that it should come out, but this is a huge part of when you're hiring staff and interviewing people and getting to understand them is it's not just like you telling me about you. These are our expectations. This is how our business operates. This is the culture of our business. This is how it works. And learning about them and making sure that there is that match, because it can't just be, it's not a task list anymore. It has to make sense from both sides that, it's a night watchman job. You do have to work the night shift, because, you have to lay those expectations out and have that conversation, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it allowed people to talk openly. What's happening now because again, therapy used to be private. If I was overwhelmed or sad or stressed, I would talk to a therapist, not the internet. Not people at work. I definitely wouldn't use language like I am dysregulated by all these unresolved trauma patterns, or things like that.
There was like one word in that sentence I understood, or maybe it was the combo of them together.
Oh yeah, I had to memorize it for the show.
Well, congrats! I'm really proud of you. That's it. I'll never be able to.
Where can I fit this in? I don't even know if I used it in the right spot or not.
It sounded good.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, but talking to people. I mean, this did allow people to talk more openly, I think is where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of mental health and self-awareness that is lifted because of that. It's, that old saying, if I got a problem, it's my problem. If I share it with you, then it's our problem. Right. And it doesn't feel as big when that happens. That's from way back before you and I probably, that saying. But I think that's what people do today in just real life, in real time.
Mm-hmm. I think it's almost like you take the good with the bad in a way too, because there's a good in people being willing to talk about things, talk about how, this job may be affecting them, or what, like, expectations, how the struggles, talking about how they feel about things, how things are affecting them, or there's a stress in them and pressure on them. But the language itself, this clinical language, like this, again, going back to this therapy speak, I think in a lot of ways, it's like, it's good you're sharing, but you kind of killed it by using such clinical language that it comes off it can come off as a bit disingenuous, or just cold, right? Instead of, can you use simple terms? Like, how many times when I'm getting AI to help me just draft a rough copy of something, and I go back and say, hey, simplify the language, but keep it professional, right? Because it spits this stuff out, and it's like, oh no, that's not how people talk. And is, I'm going to go through and edit it, but I don't want that much cleanup. Like, I give me something to work with here, right? And I think there's a real barrier there.
I'm not doing a doctoral thesis or dissertation. We have to impress a board. I got to actually talk to another person.
And I'll argue that I don't think the board, or even your, thesis supervisor, well, maybe some, but I don't know if a lot of them really want to try and grind through language that is too fancy for its own good. I'll say, like, it doesn't serve a purpose. It's a self-indulgent purpose,
It's harder to get to the point. You're like, what is he trying to say? Just, like that big thing I just said. It's hard to, the biggest problem, I think, all right, now it kind of hit me with the younger generation. They're more social media savvy and things like that. Social media rewards it. They reward all of that stuff. They're like, you see it all the time. I see it on my feed. Maybe you don't, but apparently my algorithm's different. But it'll say, like, 5 signs you're dating a narcissist. What? Yeah. So I'm going to look through it. Am I? Is Courtney a narcissist?
So see, that's why. Because you click on something and you've literally trained the bot to send the same shit back over and over again, right?
So it's one of those things. Come on, you've never done that? You've never clicked on one of those? 5 signs you're a psychopath. I'm like, am I a psychopath? Holy shit, I got 4 of the 5 signs.
I'll be honest. I look at that stuff and it annoys me so much. I click bullshit. And so my feed is right now 90% Barney the cockatoo. Have you ever seen Barney the cockatoo? He's hilarious. His little cockatoo doing funny stuff.
It's funny.
But you click on it once and then it's like your feed will never change, right? It just keeps feeding that same crap all the time, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, but over time, what's happening is we've stopped just responding to you and being empathetic to you, and everything now is a clinical assessment, and you'll get it from neighbor pet. Like, anybody, the grocery clerk, grocery clerk will tell you something about your psyche or about your, about your mental health. I'm like going, how is it that we've all become clinical psychologists in the last few years?
Yeah, and with zero training,
zero training.
That's where it feels to me. It feels a little bit to me like the petroleum engineer lingo, right? Like, you couldn't tell someone you worked at a gas station you're a petroleum engineer, right? Like, and that's what it feels like. But like, I will say, like, coming from a design background, I will say that as a designer, when we look at things, we say simple is hard. Always say that. Simple is hard. When you start down a path designing something, it's easy to make it complicated. It's easy to make it with 1,000 pieces and all, trying to touch on everything. And as you try to work it down to simplify, it can be a difficult thing. And that's, and I think it's frustrating that people don't give enough credit to the elegance of simplification, and something that's clear, but they kind of reward, the algorithms and the people, they reward something that is needlessly complex because I don't know, superficially is smart, I guess.
Yeah, but I think if companies are good at it, if a company can do it, think about it. I'm not getting the lecture from, neighbor Pat about myself. If a company can do it, it's a double-edged sword, which means it can work brilliantly or it could kill the company. And here's what I mean. When they do it, it feels human, like it's not a brand. They talk just like we do on the block. So people lower the defenses, and it creates some weird connection between me and you because the company used these words and this term or this expression in a commercial. But at the same time, if it doesn't feel authentic, and I think that's what the word is, that the algorithm or people now believe that that's what's most authentic because everybody's doing it. Like, that's how we talk normally. So if you don't talk like that normally, it's really not authentic. So it could come off as artificial or manipulative, like we talked about, or just therapy speak, like we've been using. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. So if it's not part of your personality, I wouldn't use it.
Don't use it. And I think you have to know your audience so well and be able to speak to them truthfully, and that's how it can come off authentic. I think a lot of times when you see brands really messing up, it is this very superficial. They know who the audience is, but they're not sort of part of the audience. They're not including the audience. They're not including that group in the conversation or understanding it. And it's like, well, I'll just cherry pick these words and we'll throw it out and it'll work, because that's how they talk. If you say that's how they talk, you've lost already. If that's how we talk, you're probably in a lot better shape, right?
Yeah, that's really insightful, right? I hadn't thought about it like that a company looks at a segment, a group or whatever, and says, we have to connect with them by doing the things that they do. That's a big disconnect between the company and the segment. I have to convert to you, not we already do this together, right? Because one of the things about building your brand is that people have to believe in you and your brand. I mean, Apple did it, right? I mean, Apple started with, and I've said this 100 times on this show over the last 6 years, is, that they want to challenge the status quo and they want to think differently, even the tagline. So if I believe that, then I'm more willing to work with Apple. So I want to see them thinking differently. I want to see them challenging the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
That's the simplicity of authenticity. And we see that in every product that comes out of Apple.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Apple's lost a bit of that, to be honest.
Well,
nowadays,
nowadays,
totally different path going down it. But I think Apple has lost a bit of its soul, especially since Steve Jobs is gone. And from being a designer, I know we're just off in a little of the BS side here, but it really isn't. It falls a little bit in line because I feel like they've lost some of that authenticity. I feel like they're, especially I find every day in their UI, their user interface, and that their user experience, they're compromising and they've lost their way a lot. And it feels to me like they've lost some of that authenticity. Right. And I do want to point out that we're in episode 237 and I finally said something insightful.
No, I mean, usually you say something so divisive that it gets us 1.3 million views. Maybe it's that way. Maybe you'll do it again.
Maybe there's something in here that really pisses everybody off, and we'll get. That goes down to how you get views and traction these days, right? Insightful doesn't.
They
do
use
that.
Yeah, no, I mean, a psychotherapy online does.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
It
if people
definitely
are pissed off, you're going to get some views, right?
Hey, speaking of, I'm not going. Do you got a team you're rooting for right now? It's got to be the Vegas Knights this year. Come on, it can't be the Canadians.
Well, no, I'm Canadian, so I'm supposed to root for the Canadians. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm just like I'm just like I don't want to. I'm not even watching a second of it. The Oilers were such a disappointment this year that I can't even stomach watching any
Come
of
on,
it.
dude.
So.
It's hard to get back to that game 2 years in a row. It just is. I know.
3, 'cause they did it twice.
3 years. Yeah, 3
Yeah.
years. Florida they did it twice
Florida did it twice. Well, it was against you others
or one
both
at 10.
times,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, both times. Yeah.
It's yeah, it was a little rough, and you know, like I'm gonna say, as a Canadian, I'm supposed to be cheering for the Canadians, and as a hockey fan, I kind of want to see Cale Makar win a cup, and I kind of like I kind of like the app, even though they're in our division, our conference, and everything. Like I get it, but I don't know. I like Nate McKinnon too. Like, so I'm kind of pulling for those guys a bit.
Our Courtney and I's first date was at a Vegas Knights game, their inaugural season.
Yeah,
cool, huh? So I got kind of a love for that. She's a Knights fan.
Yeah.
So, but we're watching the Spurs right now. Right? we're actually watching the Spurs right now because I don't know if you've seen Wemby. Oh my God, this guy is amazing. I mean, it's too early in his life to say Jordan-esque, but he changes the game. Every time he's on the court, you have to play different as the other team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's amazing, dude.
Seen him play. I may have to watch a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, a guy that's over 7 foot and he's shooting 3-pointers, not from the 3-point line, 10 feet back from the 3-point line.
Nice.
I mean, you know, when a guy you expect to just be around the hoop and just dunk, now he scores from anywhere on the court.
Okay. Well, I may have to watch, but I have not watched a lot of basketball. I'm glad that we have an F1 race this weekend though, because that's actually taken way more of my attention than the NHL playoffs right now. So I'm much more interested in the Montreal Grand Prix this weekend and where that's going to go. So
I bet it goes in a circle.
It's a road course, man. It's all over the place. It's F1. It's no circle.
Yeah, but they lap.
Well, it's not a street course. It's a ziggy-zaggy around here, there, and everywhere.
I bet it goes right back to where it started.
Well, it does eventually. You do a bunch of laps.
See? There you go. It's gonna end right where it started, Blaine. All you gotta do is just wait there. They'll be right back.
That's a good place to sit if you got tickets.
There you go, man. Hey, 237. We did this 237 times. It's fantastic. I mean, I love our new 2026 theme, which is we're taking viral, trending topics that outside of business, we're taking them outside of the business, making connections to business, but also talking about the things we're already talking about as regular people.
Yeah. And what is I'm sure you can see, we know so little about it.
Yeah.
But it's really fun it's fun to talk about because we don't know about it, and it helps me learn about these things, but also rethink some of my thoughts around it and some of my expectations. So I'm loving these topics. I think that you're nailing them out of the park every week, man. I'm having a lot of fun with them, and this was another good one that I had to look like, what the heck is therapy speaking? As soon as I'm like, oh, I know exactly what it is. And it's just interesting, right? But it made me stop and think about it rather than just passively hearing it sometimes and saying, oh, that's for somebody else. It's like, no, it's actually in society now. We have to think about it.
Well, you know, so many times if people are business owners watching it or listening to this, we get so stuck in our reports and our spreadsheets and our daily work that we're not taking a little bit of a look outside to see what's happening. And that's the reason why I think this is important for me and you. So we at least see the things, right? What's trending, what are other people talking about, what's happening around us. And so I like it as well.
Yeah. And it's more than AI is changing. That's a huge one. We talk about it quite often, but there's a lot of changes and a lot of things that will affect business. And it's, the pace of change has never been faster. And so it's been really, really good to dig into these things.
Right on. Hey, next time, 238, we'll have something else fun to talk about. But if you haven't,
else.
if
Like, subscribe, follow.
There you go. Go check us out. You can also buy us a beer. You can also, hey, at least go check out the song.
Well, check out the song on the Facebook page, buy us a beer at mikeandblaine.com, or email us at beer@mikeandblaine.com, and we would love to hear from you.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.